Hi everyone, Jonathan here. Today, we're going to talk about how to implement what we've already seen into your training. Let's start with training structure. Here's an important note, at least in the beginning, handstands are not the only thing that people train. Most people who will pick up handstands will also be involved in other physical practices, such as calisthenics, yoga, climbing, weightlifting, or other various circus disciplines. Cross-training takes a certain experience with programming and is better done by someone who has a holistic view of the process, usually the athletes themselves. With that said, this video will be based on the simple assumption that most people will do handstands, strength, and some flexibility. The structure of a session should look like the following. 1. Warm-up. You need to get ready for action. Get your body moving, your blood flowing. Wake up your nervous system, lubricate your joints, and prepare your muscles to achieve the range of motion that's needed. For handstands, you need to make sure your wrists and shoulders are well warmed up. 2. Technical training. Skills that you have to practice in order to be good at your discipline or disciplines. In your case, it's handstands. Technical training is better done when fresh and able to fully focus on fine motor patterns. 3. Strength training. This is when you will be training your strength relating to your disciplines and relating to overall body strength. I recommend, and always will, to train your whole body as much as possible. You might have to pick and choose what you need to work on eventually, but remember that being generally strong and healthy not only can help you learn skills faster, it will help you keep doing so into old age. 4. Cardio. That's what I don't do but really should. But that's where it fits in a session. You should do it to stay healthy. 5. Flexibility. Flexibility should be done last, and even though it's done last, apply yourself. There are a few key differences between flexibility training and warming up. During a warm-up, unless you're a contortionist, you shouldn't spend too much time in deep stretches. You should work up to a range that's good and normal for you, but not push it, and certainly not hold it until your limbs feel like noodles. That's what the stretching block of our session is for. Longer, deeper holds, tiring PNFs and loaded stretches. Now's the time to gain in terms of ranges. The exercises and goals we'll be talking about implementing today pertain to 3 different parts of a session. Most of them belong in the technical block, some in the strength block, and some in the flexibility block. Some exercises can be done right away without direct safety issues, but many require at least being able to bail out. In addition to that, it is better to introduce exercises in a progressive fashion. On your first session, after warming up, you should start by practicing cartwheel and front roll progressions. Spend as much time as you'd like on it, while keeping in mind that you have other things to do afterwards, so move on before you get too tired or sore. Becoming comfortable with cartwheels and bailing out should be one of your top priorities. After that, you can introduce handstands facing the wall at an angle with which you can easily come down without having to bail out. I suggest an angle of about 45 degrees, but that is not set in stone. I suggest doing 3 to 5 sets of 20 to 30 seconds. This is your first session, so it's okay if you keep it easy and just spend time getting acquainted with your new exercises. That is literally all of the technical material you should be covering in your first session. You should then move on to the strength portion. We should begin with press exercises. Here you have a choice. You don't need to do all of them, but I will first recommend kneeling to press start and press slide up a box. Following that, I will recommend doing a general strength routine. This is where you will be working on things like push-ups, pull-ups, squats, you name it. Then you will move on to the flexibility portion. I have not really spoken about flexibility yet, but as a general rule of thumb, it is good to develop a good bridge, to get all 3 splits down, to have a flat pike and pancake positions, and to be able to open your shoulders to at least 180 degrees of flexion. I might not have made any videos about flexibility yet, but having specific goals is a really helpful place to start with. At first, keep it short and simple, and focus on big exercises with a high value. I recommend sticking with that simple routine for about a week, before introducing more hand balancing exercises. If you're a beginner who is purely interested in handstands, I will keep it simple and try to do the same routine at least 3 times a week, until you feel comfortable with the bailing out part and the overall training volume. Training more frequently is better. I think that doing 4 sessions a week is quite reasonable. There is no issue with training even more either, as long as you listen to your body. Eventually, you will feel very comfortable with cartwheels and bailing out, and your holds facing the wall will be getting longer. I estimate that for most people, that should take less than a week. For many, even in 1 session. If you are in a situation where it takes you longer, it's alright. Keep working on it, take your time, stay safe. We all have a different starting point, and in handstands, consistent hard work is what matters the most. You'll get there as long as you stick to it and never give up. I promise. We're probably in week 2 at this point, and you no longer really need to spend time on front rolls and cartwheels. So your first exercise would be the handstand facing the wall, but this time, you want to bring your hands close to the wall, and I mean close. So close that your chest is touching the wall, and that if you don't squeeze your fingers, you fall over. You want your hands so close to the wall that holding it makes your forearms tired. You might have to do slightly shorter sets because of that, but it's well worth it. Once your handstands facing the wall are done, the first thing you are going to add is a handstand back to the wall. Again, I suggest doing 3 to 5 sets of 20 to 30 seconds. Take your time to get acquainted with the exercise. Film yourself to see what you're doing. We'll also add another technical exercise, which is the kick-up. At first, just practice them for a few minutes at the end of your technical training, and try to get them as close as possible to the technique I demonstrated in previous videos. Next, proceed to the strength and flexibility parts of your training session. Those should change much in the near future, as you will have to focus on the exercises at hand. The last 2 exercises left to introduce to your training are the shoulder pulls. You can simply add one of them, of your choice, in a new session. If everything goes well, you can add the other to the following session. That's it? Easy, right? It's just a matter of introducing technical training, a few exercises at a time, and getting used to doing a handstand routine regularly. Now, I can't finish this video without giving you more training advice. Take good care of your wrists. Don't abuse them, and keep them warm throughout your session. Every set that you do counts, so make sure that you are fresh and rest enough between sets. Staying fresh will allow you to train longer and to do better quality work. Speaking of which, stay calm. It's a widely known fact in the hand balancing community that while some days we perform excellently, on other days our training is a dumpster fire. No matter what happens, stay calm and don't let it get to you. Simply do the best training you can do on that day, no more, no less. Another trap is that it can be tempting to try the same thing over and over and over again. If you're really into it and your body feels fine, go for it. But if you only keep going out of frustration, it's probably a good idea to limit your number of tries. If on any given day you feel like doing extra work or trying new things, go for it. The basic routine I showed you is just that, a basic routine. As long as you do your essential work, have fun. Just don't get hurt, and keep in mind that you have to recover before the next session, so it's a good idea to carefully listen to your body. This concludes today's video. I hope it was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments, and subscribe for more videos.